My name's Gary, and I'm a drug addict from south coast of England, Plymouth. Thanks Shane for asking me to share. I've just come on here to share my experience, strength and hope, and how I escaped the grips of addiction. Twice really, because I come into recovery. In 2011, I'm not 11 years clean, but that's because basically I was full of my own ideas, and I basically couldn't get to grips with the God word and having faith in a power greater than myself, whatever that would be. My story is that my life has been filled with loads of drugs, everything from like weed, magic mushrooms, benzos, heroin, crack, methadone, like loads of pharmaceutical drugs, and that was my story for years and years and years, Shane's given me the opportunity to share my experience, strength and hope, and that's what I'm doing here today. Like I just said, my story and my life was full of drugs and drink, and smashed my life to the ground, and not just smashed my life to the ground, smashed my family's lives, causing chaos in my family, and basically, making the right idiot myself, and causing chaos around me. I got heavily involved with crack cocaine and heroin, 20 years ago, and I was in Bristol, like ripping off loads of people for crack, loads of yardies, all the Bristol firm, I just burnt on my bridges. And I come back to Plymouth, my hometown, where I am now. And the services, all they could stabilise me on, because I was such a mess. I was like, 10 stone, I was nearly dead. All they could stabilise me on was a Valium script, because, they prescribed me 90 milligrams of diazepam a day, you know what I mean? And I had that script for, it must have been like, at first it was only a maintenance script to like stabilise me, but being a drug addict, I blagged that script. I carried on getting that script for about 10 years, and I didn't, for 10 years, so I was just like lost. I didn't look at people, I was in a right dark place, and the only people I used, I didn't smile. I really forgot how to talk. I didn't have no voice. And then, I got involved with services, and this was years and years and years ago, and they put me into a detox centre, and to detox off my Valium, my benzos, and I've done a 13-week detox, off benzodiazepines in Plymouth, and I come out this detox centre, and I used again, I come out clean, I used again, and that has been my experience for all the detox centres and rehabs I've been, because I've spent over 2.5 years in residential treatment centres, in my lifetime, you know what I mean? So I've been in and out of detox centres, you know what I mean? Detox. Then I complete my detox, and I go into the secondary unit. And I always do alright in these places, but as soon as I come out, I'd eventually use again. I had a couple of years clean, I got clean in 2009. I had a couple of years clean, and I ended up picking up a drink, and I work out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and as it says in the big book, not a cloud in the horizon, and I picked up a drink, and that, I had a massive relapse. That drink led me back to heroin and crack and Valium, and I escaped death, really, you know what I mean, because I ended up getting clean again. I eventually got clean again. And got clean again, built up my life again, in different, one day at a time, you know what I mean, developed a little life for me. And I didn't work on the 12 steps, but like I said earlier, I could not grasp the word God, and I pushed it aside, and as it says in the big book, it's just a God of all understanding. Do you know what I mean? You ain't going to make a big thing of it. Do you know what I mean? It's just believing in a power greater than yourself. Whatever that may be, nature, your relatives, who's up in heaven, whatever that is, don't I was told not to complicate it, and I basically brushed it aside. I went through the 12 steps again. I didn't give myself completely to my step 3. My step 4 was half-hearted. If anyone knows anything about the 12 steps, my step 4 was half-hearted. I didn't do any amends. I was coming up for, I was 2 weeks off, 3 years clean. And I used again. And it was like I went right back to day one. It was horrific, not just for me, it was horrific for my family. I was just stuck in myself. It was all about me. You know what I mean? But no one, I didn't see that what the pain and the hurt, what I was causing around me. You know what I mean? So I was, I was right back into a relapse. And this relapse then went on for, 13 months. And then, I can see this today, that this was, what happened to me. I ended up, I had heroin and crack on me, and I was going out to score. I was walking from the top of Plymouth right into the Stonehouse area of Mars City, where it's like rife with Class A drugs. And then, I was walking, like I say, I had Class A drugs on me, and I was walking to school. I went past an old meeting of mine. I don't know how, but, I'm sure, like, my higher power took me there. And then, I walked past the meeting, and a couple of lads shouted to me and went, "Flinty, what? I ain't seen you for a while." And, like, you could see I was in a right mess. And they said, "I thought you was doing well." I said, "Well, obviously not." And then, I got speaking to them. They showed me a load of love. And then, I went into that meeting, and I seen a window of opportunity there, because in that relapse I was offered treatment. I didn't really get involved with services, but they heard that was back in Plymouth, and they heard but that was flat out using again. And then, I sat in that meeting, even though I felt terrible. I sat in that meeting, I had, was riddled in addiction again, and I had death sat on my lap. Literally, I was on death's door. And I sat in that meeting. I listened to the similarities, not the differences. I listened to the stories, and something clicked, and I thought, this is it. I can manage to get here. I can manage to get clean again. And when I went back into that meeting at that night when I was horrifically ill and all that, in that relapse, I went back on methadone, which I'd never thought I'd do in my life. You know what I mean? I went back on methadone to try and sort out my heroin problem. You know what I mean? So I wasn't using so much heroin. And when I went back into the meeting, I said all this to him. I said, and in that relapse, I was praying. How the hell have I got back here again? You know what I mean? And like, I was praying that I would get clean. And I made that meeting my home group. Even though I was in a terrible state, and I made that meeting my home group, and I'd done everything Bob suggested. Another addict, another mental drug addict who's ruined his life, who's got clean before me, went to the 12 steps. Another addict showed me what to do. that's the crux of it. Another addict should be what to do. I felt part of something. I was part of this home group, even though I was in a terrible state. I was part of that home group, and I come off of methadone, 5 mils a week, down to 20 mils. Then a milligram. I was on 50 mils. Come down to 5 mils a week, down to 20 milligrams of methadone. Then a milligram a day, down to 10. Then I got some help with some rescue meds off of local services, and I come off. When I was on 10 milligrams, I stopped there, and I took these rescue meds for like 2 weeks. And out of all the 2.5 years of detox centres and detoxes I've done, that me getting clean out on the streets, with everyone using around me, okay, yeah, I made a with my home group, and I got clean in the community, and that was on the 14th. My first clean and sober day was the 14th of October 2016. You know what I mean? So I'm in my 4th year of sobriety again. You know what I mean? After escaping the grips of addiction twice, after being clean right back in 2011, got clean out in the streets, and all I can share is how beautiful my life is today. I live on a beautiful part of England, right near the coast. I've just come back. Of my I'll give myself. I handed my life and the care of my life over to a power. Whatever that was, whatever I understand, whatever it wants it to be, but just like I asked my higher power, my understanding to do for me what I couldn't do for myself, and I couldn't stop taking drugs, but I have, I got clean, like I said, it's my 4th year. This is my 4th year in sobriety. I've done some beautiful things. I've just been travelling to Thailand. I've been over to Thailand 3 times, and just in this time I've been out. I've done a main share. I flew over to Dublin. I've done a main share in a meeting over there. I get asked to do main shares everywhere, to share my experience, strengthen up what I'm doing with you now. I flew out to Portugal. You know what I mean? And I know this sounds a bit strange and a bit whiffy-waffy, but this is not what I'm doing. I'm a drug addict. I like taking drugs. You know what I mean? But my obsession was removed. My obsession to use alcohol and drugs was removed by a power greater than myself, whatever you want to call that. I'll call it God in the mornings, or asking for a clean and sober day. And I've got a power greater than myself in my life today. I don't complicate it. I keep things simple. You know what I mean? I believe in myself. I've got a beautiful life. I've got peace. You know what I mean? I'm not looking at my shoulders thinking what I've done here and what I've done there, and who I out there and who I out here. My family can rest in peace now. You know what I mean? I know I'm not in the back of their mind thinking, oh, what's he doing now? What's he doing now? And for me to be completely clean, I don't take nothing. I don't take no sleeping tablets, no antibiotics, no codeine. Completely clean. People say to me, "What? Like you don't take nothing?" I said, "No, I don't take nothing. I don't smoke no weed. I don't take no tablets. I don't do nothing. I just live life on life's terms." And then, what can I say? You know what I mean? Me sharing this to you. This is part of my deal. This is part of my 12-step work. You know what I mean? Once my sponsor said, "I'll take you through the 12 steps if you promise me you show it to someone else. You promise me that you give away what was freely given to you." And basically what was freely given to me was a beautiful life. Free from the grips of addiction. And what can I say? You know what I mean? I still walk around sometimes and thinking, wow, you know what I mean? This is mental. This is beautiful. You know what I mean? I live right on the coast, up and down on the coast this morning, really early. Videoing these massive great waves come in. You know what I mean? Just nature. Colours, birds. It's just it's, my life just blew me away today. You know what I mean? I really hope someone's got something out must share, you know. And another weird thing as well, which was quite, you know, I think it's like it's quite it was quite good, because when I first got clean, I was just flicking through Facebook, and you know, I just come across groups, and I just made this group up, you know what I mean, like Flint's Recovery Goals and Tour, and there's only about 4 or 5 of us on there, you know, and you know, it's been up and running now, and it's basically a group for, you know, like addicts who are struggling, just to share, and for everyone else to, like, you know, give them some support. And there's only about 5 of us, and now on this group, you know, the group that I set up, I mean, I'm just a member of it. I know my names, I'm admin. There's a few more admin now because it's got massive, but now there's like 5,000 people in it all over the world. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's a load of Americans on it. You know, New Zealand, Thailand, you know, everywhere around the world, loads of Australians on it. Yeah, you know, and you know, that was just set up just on a fling, you know what I mean, and it's like took off, and it's like a great group, and you know, it really reaches out. You know, if someone comes up, someone posts on a group saying like, I've just used or just drank, you know what I mean, like a load of members just like dive on there, and they say, well, give us your number, we'll inbox you, you know what I mean, you don't have to do this on your own, you know what I mean, because, you know, today I can't do this. You know, I don't stay sober on my own. I do my suggestions. You know, I don't stay clean sober on my own. I do my suggestions, reach out to others. You know what I mean? I pray to a power greater myself, whatever that may be. And then, you know, I try to help others. You know what I mean? The 12 steps are basically made. You know, it's just like, I keep it simple. You know what I mean? You know, I've got a power greater myself in my life, become a better person, and I help others. You know? And in return, you know, I get another clean sober day. You know, thanks for asking me, Shane. Whoever watches this on YouTube, or you've got something out of this, you know, you're more than welcome to send me a friend request, or like get in touch with Shane, and he'll add you to the group. You know, because he's a member of the group as well, and because it is a private group, it's not a public group. It's a private group, so like whatever the members post, you know what I mean, it's all private, even though there's like 5,000 members on it, but it's only like a private group. So, you know, like I say, Shane, thanks for asking me to share. It's been a real privilege, and it's been a really privilege getting to know you over the years. And thanks a lot. I'll leave it there. Love you all.